Today, we're pulling back the curtain on a crisis that has rocked the FBI. We're diving deep into the rumored mass firings that were sparked by the January 6th Capitol riot. How will this impact the agency? What does it mean? Let's get into it. Let's go back to January 6, 2021. The Capitol was stormed, and since then, the FBI has been on the front lines investigating over 1,000 cases related to the incident. But now, the Trump administration is asking for the names of the FBI agents that investigated January 6. As you probably guessed it, the only reason they would want that list is to go ahead and do a purge of those agents. Now, the FBI wasn't the only one investigating. If you look back, other agencies were involved. You had the Secret Service, they were there. You had other elements of the Department of Justice. You had the Capitol Police, they were there as well. But let's go ahead and zoom into the counterterrorism division first. This is the division that does most of the heavy lifting to keep the country safe from domestic and international threats. Now, this division is 25 years old, and the agents that are in jeopardy here, we're looking at a number between 4,000 and 6,000 that could be at risk. And if you look in the FBI, they only have about 13,000 special agents. These are the same people that have been tracking down ISIS, Al-Qaeda, Hezbollah, working from around the country. The FBI largely doesn't want to remove these agents from the organization. And it's for a few reasons. Obviously, they have experience. Obviously, they have connections already with law enforcement agencies. But more than that, I would say, look at what it takes to create an agent. What type of investment is that? At a minimum, it's 18 months. It could be longer, but at a minimum, 18 months for the training. And over $100,000 that goes into it for each and every special agent. Without them, the FBI's capacity to predict, prevent, and respond to terrorist activities could be crippled at a time where global threats are more volatile and dangerous than ever. Now let's turn the lens to public corruption. If these agents are punished due to political activities, well, that paints an even more stark picture. This agency's job is to uncover fraud, is to uncover abuse. If you just look at what they've done just this month, you can take a look here. They've discovered fraud, bribery conspiracies, civil rights violation, and wire frauds. So in the future, is the FBI going to be less inclined to investigate presidents or political figures? An anonymous ex-agent told the news, "You're putting everyone on notice. They're saying, we're watching you." This could lead to a culture of fear over justice at the FBI, can undermine its position in the government. Now, there's two main lines of thought here. You have one that says the FBI was weaponized against President Trump. When it comes to the classified documents, the raid at Mar-a-Lago, when it comes to prosecuting him trying to overturn the 2020 election, a lot of people, they're viewing it as you're attacking our candidate, you're attacking our guy, and you're doing it excessively, and it shouldn't be weaponized like that. You wouldn't do it in other circumstances. So whoever was directing it, well, it was President Biden, whoever was directing it, they're in the wrong, and they paint that picture. The other side is saying, okay, Trump repeatedly did illegal or suspected to be illegal activities, and he's a villain. A lot of people paint him as a villain, and you should attack the villain. It is justice. And now this retribution is like trying to get your revenge, and we need to stand up against it. So you have those two ideologies that are clashing with each other. Now, FBI personnel, they've been fired in the past. Look at Lisa Page. She was a federal lawyer that sent some anti-Trump texts. She was gone. Then you had Andrew McCabe, fired due to honesty in an investigation. He sued, claiming political retaliation. If you were to consider the annual rankings of federal agencies, the FBI is already a low-ranked agency to work in. They're in the bottom quarter of sub-agencies, with senior leadership, recognition, and employee input being the lowest areas. This is a pretty steep drop in the last 15 years. We were seeing scores in the 70s, and now they're in the 50s. They're in the low 50s. Okay, nobody wants to work at an agency where you feel like your career or your job is in jeopardy just for doing your job. Now, the FBI agents, if they were to be fired for this, for participating in January 6th, if they were to be fired, then they're unlikely to find other federal law enforcement opportunities. They would have to look at local law enforcement. Like if they wanted to stay in the same career path, they would have to go like city, state, police, something like that. That could mean they sacrifice some of their benefits. But if you look at NYPD or Chicago PD, they actually got really good benefits over there. I was doing some calculations with pensions, and their pensions, my goodness, talking about a 2% multiple that they're doing over there. It's like twice as good as what they have in the federal government. Even with law enforcement. So law enforcement is 1.7% in the federal government, and it's still 2% in places like Chicago and California. So now you even have politicians calling out for the complete elimination of the FBI, like Vivek, Marjorie Greene, Paul Gosar. Yet in this chaos, there's a beacon of resistance. Acting FBI Director Brian Driscoll Jr. has been a surprising yet strong defender of his agents. He has so far resisted political pressure into firing these agents. Now, how long is he going to be able to hold up, or how long until they replace him? We don't know. He has stated that we will never take our eyes off of the mission, protecting the American people and upholding the Constitution. As to how the FBI is weathering the hiring freeze, they're not. I looked on usajobs.gov and I looked at FBI.gov searching for any open positions they may have, and there's none. There's zero. I did a little bit of research. This agency is impacted, which surprised me a little bit because if you think about the FBI, you're thinking that these special agent positions, they should be involved in national security. So why are they exempt? Well, if you look, in the past 10 years, the FBI has been growing steadily. They're up like 25, maybe even 30%. If you are still looking for a federal government job, it's not here. It's not in the FBI, but there are other agencies like the Department of Defense, Department of Army, Department of Homeland Security, the VA. They're still hiring every day. There's over 5,000 jobs that are open to the public right now. You just need to have the experience. You need to have the resume fine-tuned, and you can start applying for those. If you want some examples on some jobs that could fit your experience that you could apply to probably today, I want you to check this video out next. If you need an example of a strong resume, check out the links down below. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in the next one.